Hey yo guys, Pandy351 here, and as you can tell, it's another vent video. I'm going to be working on building this time, actually, while doing this video. So, I guess enjoy. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I had no plans on what to do for this video. I have a couple notes, so I may stop for a couple, like stop moving just to read my notes and stuff, but that'll be pretty much it. Um, so this video was made. How do I explain this? A while back, a bunch of stuff came out about a really large YouTuber. Guy does Minecraft. I want to make it very clear that I am not denying any of what happened or any of the victims, that anyone who's hurt by him. However, there were some other YouTubers that came out with statements that seemed familiar. Familiar as in stuff that they have done to myself and to others. And it made me kind of chuckle at first, and then it was kind of sad because it made me realize that there was a good chance that they had no idea what they're doing. They have no idea that they harmed me in the same way that he had harmed them. They probably have no idea on any of it. And I think that's really the reason why I wanted to make this video, was to shed some light on some of the toxicity within just other YouTubers in Minecraft. Also, I get a lot of questions asking for crossovers and stuff. And honestly, I am terrified to talk to other YouTubers. I am terrified to do crossovers with them because of how many times I've been burned and hurt by fellow content creators. So, this video was kind of necessary. It was necessary eventually. So today I will be talking about basically 3 content creators. I will not say their names. On top of that, I will be talking about 3 actors. In particular that I've worked with that kind of had to do with some of the situations. I don't want any hate. Obviously, if you know who these YouTubers are, I do not want to spread any hate. That is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to educate. I want people to be aware that this is something that people do, even if they're not necessarily meaning to do this. They could have no intention to have hurt me in the way that they did, or maybe they did mean to hurt me in the way that they did, and they're just assholes. But that's not what this video is for. This video is to get out there my frustrations, to kind of warn people about working with YouTubers, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize just how different YouTubers are sometimes. And that can be good and bad in certain ways. I try to be as honest and open with you guys as possible, but there are obviously certain things about myself that I'm not going to, say or be vocal about, and that's okay, and that's, privacy that needs to be respected. But for obvious reasons, some YouTubers are a lot different from their screen persona. A lot different in the way that they're not necessarily good people, and I may have done this all wrong. Oh, yes, I did. Well, we're already off to a great start. So, anyways, I want to start off with the first YouTuber. This one, I still talk to. Okay? I'm very much friends with her. There's no bad blood between me and her. I literally have no problem with her. I think the only issue I ever had in her cast in particular was cast members. And sometimes when they acted up, there wasn't exactly any kind of repercussions. They were quite mean and nasty at times, and to be quite honest, there's a lot more to it, which I will explain. But when stuff like that came out or came to light, nothing was really done about any of it. It was kind of ignored, brushed off, or, we should talk things through, which some situations I would completely agree. In most of these situations, it was really beyond that point, and at some point, there needed to be consequences for things. There needed to be actual repercussions for some of these people's behavior. But for obvious reason, I do not blame, the YouTuber for this. I'm going to be calling her Purple. Throughout this, I've given the YouTubers nicknames based off of colors. She's Purple. Purple's alright. I still talk to Purple. Purple's cool. I have no bad blood between her. Little disappointed on choices, but that's, obviously those choices can be, it can be a hard decision to have to do that, especially if you're, these are your friends and people you trust not to do this stuff, and then they do it. It makes it really hard to believe. And obviously at the time, I was just a newbie. So it wasn't like I had been like this lifelong friend that had suddenly gotten mistreated out of nowhere. I was the newbie. It would be way easier to believe the other people there. So I don't have really any problems with her. I think some of the situations could have been avoided, but I think she handled most of it to the best of her ability at the time. So, the problem with working with her was mostly cast members. And they made my life miserable, honestly. There were a lot of situations where we would be sitting, after a recording and stuff. Everyone would be chilling, having fun, including me. And then they would be like, oh, let's go off to this chat to go talk. And the only person in the call who wasn't in that, group area chat was me. So, that always felt great. There was even several times where that was pointed out to them where I'm like, hey, I'm not in this chat room. I can't go with you. And then they were like, oh. And then sometimes they felt nice. And they would be like, oh, okay, then we'll stay here. And then 2 seconds later, suddenly everyone has to go to the bathroom and leave. And then they're in that other chat room. So for obvious reasons that wasn't great. It was really uncool of them to do shit like that, but, it's one of those situations where it's like, you can't expect everyone to be friends. But I wasn't the only one they kind of did that to. I wasn't the only one that got avoided like that. So, yeah, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, it really could have been excused. But there was no excuse at the end of the day. After everything was said and done. So yeah, that was one of the biggest problems. After this, I'll probably go run around in MPH, to be honest. Because I think I'm pretty much done here. What I can do. I do very little building. But yeah, so that was kind of, that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth as is. But I was very naive. I like thinking the best of people. So I just assumed that they just didn't like me and that was just that. Or they just didn't like a group of people. Or they weren't really meaning to be harmful. It just kind of ended up happening that way. Obviously, I was very fucking naive. Two cast members I want to talk in particular, Blue and Yellow. Yellow was interesting. Yellow is also a YouTuber, but much smaller, than Purple, obviously. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm slightly bigger, but not by much, as a YouTuber. But I'm not sure, and I don't mean to compare, but the reason why I'm comparing is because that is what Yellow did constantly. I got monetized before Yellow did. I had only been doing YouTube for a year when I got monetized. And from what I understand, Yellow had been doing it for almost 5. Obviously, that's very unfair, and I can understand Yellow being upset about that. And so I usually just brushed it off. What was the problem was that a lot of the subs came from doing some work with doing work with Purple, basically, is why I ended up getting attention. And Yellow would go to Purple and tell Purple that I was using, her for subs. Which obviously was not the case. I was her friend. It was very hurtful. It was very, very hurtful. And it upset me a lot. But I never really confronted it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I ever really, straight up was like, hey, knock this shit off. Because I didn't want to cause any drama. I didn't want to cause any trouble. I tried my best to stay as small as flippin' possible in that cast. And for obvious reasons, that became very detrimental to my health. It got so bad to the point where there was an issue with a server that Purple had owned, where we were trying to figure out whether it should be okay to friend staff. Obviously, somebody who has a bigger following who has to deal with a lot of friend requests on my own server. I'm a very shy person. I'm very nervous around people. So when people send me random friend requests, it freaks me out. And it's not like, well, this is a bad... I'm just legitimately am socially anxious. And so I was like, no, I don't think this rule should be removed because this is, they should be asking before they're friending people in the server. That's really just common courtesy. And as soon as I said something, everyone in the cast, including her, Yellow, disagreed with me. I was like, no, you should make friend requesting true. And I'm not even kidding you. Yellow was on a live stream while this was happening. And this got pulled up later and I brought it to Purple and nothing was done of it other than, remove it. Which, that kind of upset me a little bit and hurt. But basically it was Yellow sitting there being like, oh, she's, Pandy's such a big YouTuber. She thinks she's all that in a bag of chips. Fuck her. I'm gonna vote against her just because I don't like her. For obvious reasons, that's oh, why? I don't understand. This isn't about, I'm a big YouTuber, look at me. It's about, I'm socially anxious, and has a lot of, subs. And so there was a lot of people who tended to friend me just from alone. Not even from my channel, just from... Sorry about that. I had said their name. But... where was I? Fuck, I forgot. I'm really sorry. I was supposed to not say the name. But basically, it was just a whole mess with Purple, and at the end of it, that entire fight is the main reason why I left Purple's cast. Because they made it very clear that they hated me and wanted no part. The only other person was Blue. I just mentioned them earlier. Blue was... He straight up just harassed me a lot. There was a lot of situations where he basically pretended that I was an idiot and would treat me like I'm an idiot when I wasn't doing anything wrong. He would yell at me for things that weren't my fault, or for moving when we were paused when I wasn't. That tended to happen a lot. I felt really uncomfortable around him. There was a point where I did find out that he was asking screenshot, pictures of certain things from audience. And he was also involved in that stream with Yellow. So he also tended to make a lot of jokes about just inappropriate things. I don't want to say anything more specific because I feel like if I'm specific, I'll give away who it is. And for obvious reasons, I don't want hate. I don't want anyone to get hate. I want people to learn. That's all this video is about. It's about learning. So, yeah, for obvious reasons, after that happened and nothing was done by Purple, I left Purple's cast. I would be more than happy to return to it if it wasn't for the fact that I don't feel that purple has the ability to make sure I'm safe. Because obviously I've been hurt in ways that purple isn't prepared to handle. And I don't think purple is necessarily prepared to handle to look at her friends and tell them that they need to knock it off. And that what they're doing isn't okay either. And that's okay. Some people can, some people can't. That is all right. It's just one of those things where it's like I really wish I could have stayed, but there was no situation where I could have. Because it just wasn't a good place anymore. It wasn't safe. So, on to the last two YouTubers. Oh boy. So let's start off with Orange. Orange was one of the YouTubers that came in to reply with Sky Does Minecraft. He was the original one that came in to reply with that situation. And he's the reason I'm kind of making this video. Because to be quite honest, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think Orange is a bad guy at all. I think I still somewhat look up to him. I still think he's a great guy. I don't think he's bad. I think what happened was not really his intention. And I don't think he thought about things. But basically, one of his complaints about what had happened with Sky was that rumors would get spread behind his back and lies would get spread, and nobody would talk to him. I was removed from Orange's cast because somebody started the rumor that I was threatening to cock and ball torture someone. Now, if you don't know what cock and ball torture is, neither do I. I don't. I know it's a form of torture, and it probably has to do with the male private parts. That is it. I do know exactly how that rumor started. I was in a conversation in a call with an ex-cast member who was extremely abusive and someone who raped me. And they sat there and they were shit-talking this guy. And for obvious reasons, I didn't step in because I didn't know what was happening. I don't know what cock and ball torture is. And to be quite honest, the guy who was being threatened had kinda gone after a minor as a 20-something-year-old adult. I want to say he was like 28. I may be completely wrong on that. And none of this is quoted, but basically, that's kind of... It was one of those things where it's like, oh, you know, haha, torture, the pedophile. Like, that's... I probably wouldn't have been okay with the cock and ball torture if I had any idea what it is, which I still really don't. But I never said anything about any of it. I sat there quietly as this toxic cast member, and the guy who raped me went back and forth talking about how they were going to do these awful things to this guy. I didn't say anything because honestly, I was fucking scared. That conversation was overheard and it was given to Orange, and Orange kicked me without asking, without, you know, coming to me being like, hey, did you say this? He didn't ask for any kind of clarification. I was just removed. And I found out a year later that I was removed for that reason. Sorry, a little bit of hiccup there. Like, I found out a year later. The only thing I was told when I was removed from Orange's cast that the other cast members had become uncomfortable with me. Which, like, no shit. If that kind of thing was if I was actually saying those kind of things, then, like, obviously, yes, I can understand people being uncomfortable. But, like, nobody came and talked to me about it at all. Like, and that's honestly ridiculous. It's really stupid. And it makes it even funnier put into context of reading over the thing from, you know, about Sky Does Minecraft, where it's like, oh, you know, gossip was spread and people started hating me. Yeah, that is flat out what happened to me. And that is why I'm terrified to talk to other YouTubers, because I know bigger YouTubers have been told. I know that shit spreads. And I know that there will be a mark that I won't be able to get rid of. And then I won't be able to clear my name for it. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to be proven wrong. Because if they are wrong about me, if they were wrong about what happened to me and what they did to me, then that makes them honestly shit human beings. And no one wants to admit that. Especially not a bunch of guys. You can tell I'm very emotional over this. And I have been saving the worst for last. Now it's time to talk about Green. I was only in one video. I body acted for one video. And this is the only other actor I will talk about. During that video, we were being watched over by one of his, top admins. Was an actor for his series. And he had made these little chiseling bits, statues of dicks. And for somebody who has been sexually assaulted by having a guy forcibly hand you his dick, having a guy walk up in Minecraft forcibly making all of the body actors hold this fake penis was really fucking uncomfortable. And he kept wanting us to chant stuff and shit, and it was really fucking weird, and it wasn't okay, and it wasn't good, but for obvious reasons, no, the actor did not know that I had been assaulted. Okay, the actor had no idea of this. But honestly, while, oh, haha, funny, male genitals, it's really just wasn't okay that we were forced to hold it. I don't understand why that was a thing he did. But that's about the only problem I have with that actor, except for a couple other things, but they aren't important enough to really be mentioned, to be honest. But this mostly for Green. Green was another one who made a thing in talking about Sky. And again, it was a lot of stuff being talked about behind his back. Lies being spread. And for obvious reason, what Green did to me falls under those two categories. I worked with Green for one video. Other than that, I was completely booted. During that time that I was in Green's server, I had that happen. One of the other things is that we were in a VC at some point, and Green was talking about how I had such a great voice and how I should audition to be other characters. And I was, God, I shit you not, I was starstruck by Green. He was my inspiration. He inspired me to push through and do what I love doing. He meant quite a bit to me. And so to have all of this happen really hurt. But basically, he told me my voice was great. I should audition. And of course, I was fucking excited. I'm like, dude. He says my voice is oh. He said I have a good voice. Oh. And I messaged him a few times asking about, asking kind of about getting, how does he want me to audition? Where should I audition? And for obvious reasons, he never answered back. Which of course made me really depressed at the time. Oh shit, he thinks my voice is bad. Oh god. Which obviously didn't help, and is around the time when I stopped doing videos as frequently. Which was fun and great. A situation happened on Twitter that started a lot of the dominoes that happened with Green. And I want to clear up some of those dominoes because I was definitely not in the right in certain situations, but I didn't know any better because I'm autistic, I'm neurodivergent, I don't understand things the same way others do. And so I didn't understand what I was saying was wrong. Or what I was doing was wrong. And I want to clarify a lot of that. Because for obvious reasons, looking back, these were terrible decisions. that I made, and I can understand why some of them started some of it. It's the rest of it that I don't understand. And the first domino I want to clear up was I made a statement about it being a choice. And for a lot of you who are LGBT, when you hear that statement, you're gonna immediately get very angry, and I want you to calm down for 2 seconds and let me explain. When you hear it's a choice, most people hear that them being attracted to people is a choice. And obviously, that's not true. It's not a choice who you're attracted to. But that's not what I meant by it's a choice, which is where the confusion came in. Because I was never told what that statement actually meant. I had no idea what that statement meant. I thought it meant that you chose to come out of the closet, that you chose to be prideful and to be outspoken about your sexuality. You know, I thought it meant that you didn't choose, you know, that by not having a choice, you didn't choose who you dated. For obvious reasons, you know, we can date. We don't have to have sex. We don't have to be in relationships, I think. But, like, obviously people want to be in them, and that's fine too. And all of that is valid. But for obvious reasons, you can see why saying it's a choice would mean something completely different from me to you. I did not mean it with any intent on harm. And so, yeah. And it's a little more complicated than just that. I'm just kind of like giving surface details because I still don't quite understand the whole concept of it. But at the time I was closeted. So I definitely will say there's a lot of pent up of that. Where I'm like, oh, I don't get to come out and be who I am. So obviously, you know, you choose whether you stay in the closet or not and hurt yourself. Like, you can sit in there and continue to be toxic to yourself, or you can come out, and obviously that's your choice. And for obvious reasons, that was mistranslated. So a situation had happened with Green, where I had opened up Twitter one day, and I noticed an argument that was happening. At first, the argument didn't bother me. It was basically Green was making a tweet about not being in a relationship and being sad about it. And a lot of the comments were, you know, whoa, why don't you try dating a girl? For obviously, since Green is gay. So dating a girl is not a choice that Green is gonna make, which is, you know, rightfully so, you know. And again, I'm not saying that Green chooses or does not choose to be attracted to girls. I'm saying that Green chooses or does not choose to date girls. In the same way that Green can choose not to date a certain guy. Again, I want to be very clear on my wording here, because this is what got me fucked up in the first place. I will explain things wrong, I will misinterpret certain things, and for obvious reasons, that can be bad. And you can even understand in that sentence, like those sentences alone, how easy that could be misconstrued. But there were a lot of people saying, hey, go date a girl. Like, you should try being bi. Like, there were a lot of people saying that. And so I can understand why that could be considered hurtful, and why, you know, Green wouldn't necessarily be happy about that. Which I totally can understand. However, it started getting very ableist in some of the comments very fast. And the one that struck me out the most, and this is when I started speaking out, was this kid had said something about being, you know, trying to be bi. Obviously, at first, it was civil. You had somebody be like, oh, that's not how that works. And they were like, oh, you know, the kid's like, oh, I was just trying to give advice. You know, the people in my special ed class said I was really good at giving advice. That's the flag that got my attention. This is a special ed kid. This is a kid who may not be explaining things right. may not understand how things work. You never know, right? This kid could have no idea what he's saying is hurtful and may not even mean to be hurtful. He's just trying to honestly, be helpful. He's not, but there's a lot of assuming that happens that needs to not happen. I'm gonna be honest. People assume very negatively about people all the time. And really, it just causes pain for everyone. So, yeah. So that kind of happened, and that wasn't great. And then a whole thing went on, and it started to go into territory of like, you're stupid, you're a piece of shit, like, blah, 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 you're a terrible person. And again, like, for obvious reasons, that bothered me because it's like, hey, whoa, this kid just may not understand. Why don't you sit down and just explain? Because for obvious reasons, I didn't understand either. So I didn't understand why they were getting so aggressive. Obviously, now I understand a little bit more, but I do believe the situation could have been handled much better than it was. And if that was the only thing that had happened, that would have been the end of the conversation. However, I noticed these tweets in particular because Green had retweeted them, which pushed them into my feed. All of this hate, all of this bloodshed, all of this negativity got thrown into my feed because Green retweeted it. And again, the first comment or two, oh, that's not true, you just can't be bi, like, you just don't be bi. That's not how that works. Would have been totally fine. But the stuff that was being retweeted was the stuff like, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you should shut up, stuff like that, where it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. The kid said they're special ed. You need to, like, maybe give them a bit of a break. You're assuming that they know what's happening when there's a good chance they don't. Because again, I didn't know. And stuff like that kind of attack is what caused me to be extremely homophobic when I was younger. I've mentioned that before, but that's a whole separate thing. For obvious reasons, at this point, I had cooled down a bunch. Because I had met a bunch of really cool people, but then stuff like this happened still, and it was really... I don't know, it made me very angry, because there was good people who sat down and explained stuff. And why that couldn't happen there is beyond me, and I couldn't understand it. Whew, I'm about to get really emotional through this, because this one's actually kind of means a lot to me. So, because of this, I said something, obviously to Green. I, added him and was like, hey, dude, what the hell? Why are you retweeting this? Why are you saying this is okay? Like, you're attacking, somebody who may not understand what's even happening without any kind of, offering any kind of solution to maybe what's happening. This kid is just fucking confused. And you're not helping by encouraging people to attack them. You're gonna make this situation worse. You should be trying to make it better. What the fuck? And obvious reasons, people don't like being called ableist pricks. They don't like being called out for their ableism. And so it was deemed that I was homophobic because they didn't care to sit down and understand what the hell I was talking about when I said that it was a choice. Again, obviously now I know that I shouldn't have said it was a choice. That was not acceptable and not okay. And I didn't understand what I was saying when I said that. And I do apologize for that. Obviously I more meant that it's like a choice to come out. Like, it's a choice to be true to yourself more than it's a choice on who you're sexually attracted to. Oh boy, that's a lot. So it went downhill from there. I had been removed from Green's cast at that point. I didn't even know it. I had not noticed that I had been removed from Green's cast at all. I was not paying any attention. So I just kind of like stayed on my own for a while, stayed quiet. It had been a couple months. Nothing had really happened. It wasn't a big deal. I had almost completely forgotten about the Twitter argument at all. And again, I didn't even realize I had been removed from Green's cast this whole time. So, about, I'm going to say like 3 or 4 months later, I had started getting a lot of comments from people about working with other YouTubers. And again, this is one of those moments where I did make a mistake, but I didn't understand it was a mistake. And instead of somebody stopping and explaining it, things got made worse without any context given, anything said. It was just a horrible experience, honestly. But basically, I had been getting a lot of people being like, hey, go work with these YouTubers. And for obvious reasons, these YouTubers are like, they've got millions of subscribers. I ain't gonna message them with like, my little 1K, 2K over here. Like, not saying that okay. It was a small number compared to them, and I didn't think I was worth their time. I felt that if I attempted to do a crossover with them, I would be wasting their time. I would be wasting their actors' time. And I couldn't do that. So I ended up making a video. And again, this was really stupid of me. But also, I don't think anyone, it was Green had actually listened to the video. Because if he had, I think he would understand a little bit more. Or maybe he had and was just an idiot and decided to just plug his ears during part of it. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what Green was thinking with this whole thing. But basically, I said something along the lines of like, hey, a lot of you guys want me to do crossovers with other YouTubers. For, obvious reasons. I'm very small. Like, I can't reach out to these people. These people are not going to want to talk to me. I'm literally nothing. So if you want to do a crossover, like, continue to tell me you want to do a crossover with people because I'll keep notes. But you should also be telling them too, because then you might actually, then they can reach out to me if they feel I'm worth their time, which I'm probably not. But hey, for obvious reasons, it really wasn't a good idea. It was really stupid of me to do that. Because what ends up happening is people spam. And I had no intention for anyone to be spammed or rated over this or like to make anyone look bad for not doing a crossover with me. If anything, I was just like, no one's gonna do it anyway, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, that didn't end up going very well. Obviously I got a lot of backlash from that. I got, well, I say backlash. Nothing really happened at first, I'm gonna be honest. I hadn't even noticed that I had done anything wrong because nobody said anything to me. And then during my first ever stream, you can go back and you can see it happen. Green walked up to me and we were like, oh, look, it's Green. Oh, he's really cool. He's great and awesome. And then people are like, oh, you should do crossover. And I'm like, oh, well, and, I don't know. I don't know if I'm worth his time or anything. Like, because I'm like, oh, this is my first stream. I don't want to start it off with something like, no, I would never do a crossover with you. What I got instead was a DM from Green, basically threatening me that if I didn't tell my fans to back off, he was gonna do something about it. And I didn't have any idea why I was immediately brought with hate because, again, I didn't remember the conversation with Twitter at all. That conversation might as well have never happened as far as I was concerned. So this hate was literally out of nowhere to me. And I'm just sitting over here like, oh, okay, what's happening? What's going on? Why What did I do? What did I do wrong? Um, obviously that was a very stressful situation. It was explained to me that by someone else that the video I made was not really okay and wasn't acceptable. And I removed the video basically immediately. I did not keep the video up at all because I was told that this wasn't okay, so I took it down. Seems easy, but apparently that's not how it works. So for a good couple weeks, I continued to get harassed for clout chasing. I made a comment to my fans like, "Hey, please stop asking other YouTubers to do crossovers with me. Just don't do it." But obviously, Green was still getting asked. And so publicly, now mind you, Green has a good couple million subscribers. And when you're that big, you have a lot of fans who are willing to do anything for you. Including sending death threats, suicide baiting, stuff like that. So for a good week or so, I got a barrage of comments, and this is the only time I've really ever gotten hate comments, mind you. During this period of people who were suicide baiting me, people who were sending me death threats, people who were threatening to hunt me down. At which, of course, I'm like, what the fuck? Where is this all coming from? And then I found out that Green had posted something on his community tab. Had specifically called out my name and basically was talking about how I was a terrible person and how I was trying to use him for stuff and how I was homophobic. Yeah. So I got in contact with another YouTuber. This was while I was still friends with Orange. I was panicked. I talked to Orange. I was like, "What do I do?" I didn't say Green's name to Orange. I was like, "What do I do? This bigger YouTuber's attacking me. I don't know how to handle this. What do I do?" So Orange tried to help me a bit and then asked me who it was. And I was honest to Orange. I said, "Hey, it's Green doing this. I can show you the screenshots and stuff." And Orange was like, "I'm gonna go talk to him. Like, it's okay. We can get this sorted out." The community post was removed, and then I got a very nasty DM from Green going, "How dare you go to Orange about this? How dare you do this?" And I'm like, "Bro, you're this big fucking YouTuber who's attacking me. I don't like what else am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not a YouTuber. Like, well, I am, but like, I'm small. I've not been around for a while. I don't know. I didn't understand. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like, I just want it to stop. Like, it's been a month since the thing on Twitter, and obviously you kept a fucking very vengeance or revenge, whatever. I don't know the fucking word, but obviously he's still very angry over it. So that was the end of my conversations with Green at that time. Because it got way, way worse, way fast. Almost half a year later, I had some issues with some cast members. To explain, basically, they weren't getting stuff done on time, and I was like, "Hey, if you don't get this stuff on time, I'm gonna have to go to other people. Like, I'm gonna have to go elsewhere. I need you to help. You said you would help me. You guys are my friends. I'm asking for help for once, which is not something I normally did at the time. And it took a lot to ask for help, and I got dropped, basically. Then a bunch of them went out to say I was homophobic, transphobic, and was doing all these terrible things, which obviously I wasn't doing. There was a bunch of stuff about me stealing the character Delilah. I have proof that that's not the case. The character was given to me by the actress who said I was stealing the character. Or actor. I don't know. I don't know what they are now. I don't mean to misgender anyone in this video. if pronouns have changed since I've known them. I've obviously not been keeping an eye on any of them. I don't know anything about any of them at all. But so I got, a bunch of harassment from them. And then they went to Green. And they told Green what was going on. And Green took what a bunch of children who had been removed from my cast were saying and took it to heart. They rounded up a bunch of their cast members and continued to harass me for another 6 months. 6 months of nonstop harassment from all of them. I said some things back and forth that I probably shouldn't have said. I continued to get death threats. I continued to get told to kill myself. During that time, I had done some self-exploring and had found out, and I'd, confirmed with myself that I was pansexual to be specific. That I found myself slightly attracted to girls and boys. Obviously that label has changed during the years. I am no longer just pan, I'm a pan lesbian. And this is not the video to explain that, so please, let's not get into that in the comments. I know that'll end up with a lot of back and forth, so please, that's not the point of this video. Please don't get into that right now. I can make another video explaining it if people want. Because obviously my relation to being a pan lesbian is different than other people's. So, yeah, okay. So, carrying on from that, I came out as being pansexual, and it was basically like, this whole situation is really hurt. It made it really hard for me to come out of the closet because I'm being attacked for being homophobic. And for obvious reasons, I don't know if I can truly be myself if I'm being attacked for being homophobic when I am homosexual. I don't really know if that's possible. This hate is unwarranted. I have proof that this hate is unwarranted and unnecessary, and I'm being attacked for no reason. And this is stupid and dumb. And you can tell I'm starting to tear up because this... I don't know if any of you, those who have come out of the closet, obviously there is a lot who hasn't, has ever had that moment where you wish you never did? Or you at very least wish that you weren't gay or homosexual or whatever. I came out as pan, and from that moment on, for the rest of those 6 months, I continued to get harassed on the fact that I wasn't gay enough to be pan. That I wasn't allowed to be pan or homosexual because they said so. And how... obviously, they rubbed the "it's a choice" back into my face, which my response was always, well, yeah, no shit, I chose to come out. Which again, obviously there's a mistranslation between what I deemed was "it's a choice" and what they deemed "it's a choice" is. Again, I'm not saying that they weren't hurt by those words. I do, apologize for those words. Those were not great. It wasn't worded the way it should have been, and I should have known. I should have done better. I didn't know better, and that's why things weren't handled correctly. If somebody had sat down and been like, hey, let me explain this to you, maybe we'd be in a completely separate place. But for obvious reasons, we're having this video, we're having this discussion because people can't shut the fuck up and think for 2 seconds that maybe somebody may just be naive and not be a vengeful piece of shit. Maybe somebody is thinking something completely different, and thinks differently than you do. Maybe people are neurodivergent. It's really weird. Not everyone has the same type of brain. Not everyone thinks the same fucking way. Maybe get your head out of your ass and realize that your thoughts aren't we aren't a fucking hive mind. your thoughts aren't supreme and everyone follows your thoughts. So suck it up and think for 2 seconds before you open your damn mouth with hate. And think about what you're about to say. You know, I'm sorry. Yes, I said it's a choice. And yes, it was harmful. But it sure as fuck didn't deserve death threats. It didn't deserve suicide baiting. And for somebody who was extremely suicidal at the time, I got very close. Several times because of that shit. And it's hurtful. It's harmful. It's just people need to shut up sometimes. And obviously, I probably should have shut up too. So a little bit of a hypocrite on my end. But it's more or less just, instead of just being immediately hateful, maybe have like a decent, like, honest to God conversation. Because I was more than willing to sit there and let them talk to me. I was over here like, bro, like, teach me. Like, tell me why what you're doing is acceptable and is okay for what you're saying. Because if it's just, you know, this is really harmful because of this reason, then the conversation would have been over easy. It would have been fine, but nope. Green had to continue to drag it on. So, yeah, basically, I was gatekept out of being gay for a good 6 months. So that felt great. I probably would have gone right back into the closet if it wasn't for the fact that I had super supportive friends at the time who were there for me and were like, hey, everything's okay, you're valid. And to those people who do know about this and came over from Green's channel and stuck around, hey, I don't know why you stuck here. I don't know why you came here and decided, hey, this person's cool. I'm staying here. I have no idea why. But thank you, I guess. Because support and stuff like that honestly really helped. So by the end of it all, I had been harassed so badly that I had to go through lawyers and write up what is called a cease and desist letter. This basically meant that if he didn't stop talking about me, if he didn't stop harassing me constantly, I would press charges. I would go to the police and I would press charges. We had the letter tracking. We had tracking on the letter because you have to legally put tracking on it. And when it was delivered, I'm not even kidding, like the next day, a bunch of the tweets about me were deleted. Obviously, Green the second time around never spoke directly about me. However, his cast did. And he made a bunch of passive comments about, oh, you know, haha, you know, homophobia, you know, oh, people who are homophobic, you know, trash. Like, obviously, they were directed at me. But my name was never said, at least the second time. It was the first time, which wasn't great, but hey, I guess it is what it is, right? So, after the cease and desist letter, things stopped. And yeah, it was an experience, working with other YouTubers. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a good one. And I at least hope, for my cast in particular, that I don't have those same experiences with all of them. Obviously, ex-cast members, who got called out on their bullshit, don't have those experiences with me. Like good ones. But in certain cases, I don't really care. Because, like, there's one where somebody was sexting minors, being flat out a pedophile. Obviously, they don't have, you know, she doesn't have a great experience with me. But honestly to God, I do not give a shit. But I would hope that for the majority of my cast members, especially my younger cast members, that they have a better experience. I attempt to invoke a certain similar feeling to when you're a stage actor and you've done rehearsals for hours and hours and hours with all these people. You tend to bond with them. Like, they become family. They become a second family so fucking quick. And that's really what I want. I want, people to enjoy being a part of what I do. People to enjoy what I do. I just want to entertain people. I want to make people's lives better in the only way I can. For obvious reasons, this makes, situations like what happened with me makes it really hard to work with other YouTubers. Or to even talk to other YouTubers who are generally even close to Green. Because I know for a fact that Green has talked to other YouTubers about me. And of course, has not shown any of the proof. Probably has gone around been like, oh, look, ooh, cease and desist letter. Like, oh, didn't like being called homophobic so much. Again, none of it's true. I have a wonderful girlfriend who is, amazingly supportive. She doesn't really know I'm making this video. I mean, she does. Sorta. She knows I was gonna make this video eventually, but she doesn't know that I'm making this now. And she'll probably bonk me. Because she'll want to have been here. I only started crying at the end. Look at me. Doing great. So, anyways, yeah, I'm gonna have to bleep out some of the names, because I think I said names of the colors I had assigned. So yeah, I'll have to go through this. That will not be fun. Because this is probably a pretty long video. That's almost an hour long of just me venting. Yes, but again, I want to reiterate that I don't want to spread any hate. That is not the point of this video. The point is that with the situation of Sky Does Minecraft that came up, a lot of people accuse Sky of doing things that he did. Good chance he did. And I'm not going to say that these things didn't happen to them. But I want to show that they've done this to others. That they have taken their pain and pushed it onto other people. Which is just going to cause a cycle. It's one of those things where you hear people talk about people who have been abused. Abused people either becomes the abuser or is abused again. For obvious reason, Orange and Green were abused. They were harmed. And they became the abusers in both scenarios. And I just hope that if they do see this, that they learn. That they grow as people. Because honestly, that's all anyone can ask for. This isn't hey, I want an apology. I don't care for an apology. I fucking don't give a shit about any of them. Honest to God, I don't want to work with them ever again. I do want to not necessarily be afraid of working with other YouTubers because of these two. But, I don't necessarily care at the end of the day. I don't care if they apologize because I've forgiven them a long time ago. But I certainly won't forget. And so, there's literally no way I'm working with either of them. They can suck an egg and cry about it. I don't care. Honestly, with both of them, at this point, I've just made it my goal to pass them in subs. Not because I'm like, oh, I need money or I need more people. I just want that kind of satisfaction that I was able to do. I was able to do just as good as any of them without that help. Because both of them had help to get to where they are. Both of them had people around them supporting them. who were bigger than them. I didn't have that. And at the same time, I also want to get to be that person for others. I want to be able to help, show people off, show off talented individuals who do deserve to be looked at and do deserve to have subscribers and stuff. But because they're smaller, people may never notice them. I don't want that. I don't want people feeling that because that's never great. I want to be able to help others just like I was helped to get out of the dark hole that I was in when I was younger, and this is my way of contributing back. If I get other help from people, that's fine. But I've never done any of this for money. I've never done any of this for fame. I'm doing this because I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to make people's lives just a little bit better. Because you see that notification and you're like, damn, Pandy posted a video. I can't wait to see it. That's the point I want to hit. I want to hit the point where there's those people who see that notification and it's just like suddenly their day just got so much better. Because hey, Pandy's still posting videos. But yeah, I guess that's really it. This was a long ass rant. Hey, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for listening, I guess. These videos aren't really necessary to watch, I guess. I don't think they're necessary. I don't think anyone will really care, honestly, to listen to any of these. So hey, if you made the end of the video, then like, cool, thank you. I guess for listening to me get upset and over emotional. I apologize if anything in this video was not explained well, or if I missed over things, or if I didn't explain enough of it. Um, I'm just trying to I don't have a script or anything. I'm just rambling this. I'm just literally going. That's why I'm gonna have to bleep out names later. Literally, all of this is just meant for learning. This is meant for learning on the YouTubers' behalf if they even see it, because I bet they won't. I bet none of them will see this video, and even if they did, they won't give a shit because they will sit there on their high thrones and be like, "Hey, I'm a good person. This person's saying all these. It isn't true. I didn't do any of them. I don't fucking care." Because one day they will sit on that throne and they will fall. They will fall hard because they will get called out on their shit that they've done to others. They will get called out for the pain they've caused others, because these YouTubers have not only hurt me, they've hurt others. Because I've had conversations with some of those people. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I'm really sorry for that really depressive video. I hope to get this edited and out to you, basically as soon as I edit it. Which I'm not sure how long that'll take because it's, an hour long. So, anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Hope y'all have a positive day. GTFN.